Hello and welcome back to a Method to the Madness Breaking Bad edition. I'm your host Patrick, and joining me as always is Mitchie.
Hello.
And today we are covering Season 2, Episode 4, titled Down. This episode sees Jesse having not even the worst day of his life, but it's pretty fucking bad.
The worst so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Little does he know what's coming to him. Okay. Can you read out the plot summary, please?
Sure. Walt and Jesse meet at a gas station to discuss their next move. Walt says he needs time to reassure his family after his fugue state before he can cook again and gives Jesse $600. The next morning, Walt cheerily makes breakfast, clearly disturbing Skylar and Walt Jr. Skylar abruptly leaves the house and does not return until much later, not telling Walt where she had been. Meanwhile, Jesse meets with an attorney and his parents who tell him that they found the meth lab in his basement and are evicting him from his aunt's house. They tell him he has 72 hours to leave, but the next morning Jesse's mother arrives with workmen who take everything in the house to storage. Jesse at first tries to convince his mother that he can change, then angrily tells her that he earned the house by taking care of his cancer-stricken aunt, while his mother did nothing. She loses her temper and slaps him. Interesting detail in the plot summary.
Yeah, these plot summaries, I wonder who writes them. I think we had this conversation. It's like, whose job is it to go through and write the plot of, like, Breaking Bad?
In Wikipedia, because that's where we're reading it from. It literally could be people like us. Nobodies.
It's pretty... Hey man, you don't need to do us like that. Okay, so this episode has another cold open where they fish the bear out of the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other shit.
Is that right?
Yeah, it specifically ends on the glasses. Don't you remember? And they're Walt's glasses?
Oh, yeah.
Are they actually Walt's glasses though? Because I can't recall how his glasses would end up just on the ground around his house.
He gets new glasses from Season 3 onwards, doesn't he? It's like the iconic Walter White ones.
Does he?
I swear to God he does, because like he kind of changes his whole look from Season 2 to Season 3.
Right, yeah. So, but
Yeah.
I reckon those glasses in that bag at the start were literally just debris, part of the debris that fell from the aircraft.
Could be.
Which is interesting though that they hover on it because then it makes you think that it's Walt.
Right. Yeah. Well, this whole season is full of like red herrings. It's meant to make you think, oh shit, like he's gotten caught at the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So Walt's trying to convince his family that, you know, he's still the same old Walt. And this is really interesting. At first, you know, in the first season, he was acting when he was putting on the Heisenberg persona. Yep. And now that comes naturally to him. Now he's acting like the family man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's completely reversed for him. And yeah, obviously, this is quite the sudden reversal too. So Skylar is a bit suspect of Walt, and his excuse is like terrible. He's like, what?
Wait,
it's like the alarm on my phone.
Yeah, fucking not believable, eh?
He just shouldn't have brought it up, because that is exactly what ticks Skylar off. Like, you know, had he not said anything, who knows? But yeah, I don't know.
Don't you think the way he's acting is just so sus? Like, I can't tell if like that's how he always was before Breaking Bad even started, or is his act to be a family man just a way off? Because, you know, maybe some parents are like that, you know, fucking Americans, eh? Like, I don't know what they're like. Maybe some dads do like kind of talk like that, like in a fake manner, you know. But yeah, you know, I can't tell.
I think that's like a universal dad trait, kind of like.
But I can't tell if it's too far in this.
Yeah, right.
If he's trying too hard.
I mean, from what we've seen in the show, it's certainly, you know, he's hamming it up, but. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, a bit later on, actually, when he's you know, with Walter Jr. and he's teaching him how to drive, I feel like that is a very candid look at how he normally is. He's kind of like very critical. Yeah, like, you know, his Walt. Paul Flynn's trying his best, and Walt is just like, you know, doing the dad thing where he's trying not to lose his temper, but he's clearly like has so many things he wants to point out, and like, you know, just nagging points.
Exactly.
And him being, you know, the perfectionist chemist that he is, I feel like that's a lot of what Walter Jr. had to experience growing up.
Yeah. What do you think of Jesse being kicked out?
Yeah, that's
his parents, their decision.
I mean, it's I don't know. It's for the benefit of Jesse, and, you know, they don't turn him into the police for having like a meth lab in his basement. So
yeah, true. That's a good point. It could go a lot worse.
Yeah, I understand Jesse's position too. Like, you know, he did take care of his aunt, but yeah, what do you reckon?
Yeah. I mean, I can't blame his parents. I mean, imagine if someone had a meth lab in your basement. You know, you'd be freaking the fuck out because that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, at the same time, you don't want to turn your own son in to go to jail for like 20 years or something. So, yeah. But it's interesting how, like, we kind of hear about Jesse and he's, like, trying to justify, like, I'm the one that looked after the aunt and all this and that. And then the mum says to him, like, you didn't even cook lunch for every day. And it's kind of like, up to that point, we don't really know what the whole family story is behind that. But the reality is that, like, that's what a lot of people do. They kind of try and talk themselves up like that. And maybe Jesse actually didn't do as much as he thinks he did to help the aunt out, you know? And I think his parents are just coming out saying, like, look, that doesn't make you fucking, like, an angel. Like, you're just completely absolved of everything you've done so far. You're still a meth cook, and it doesn't matter whether you looked after or not. So I don't really see any reason why it's justified.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That Jesse uses that experience with his aunt as a kind of, like, absolution for, like, cooking meth, yeah.
Which, yeah, nothing's an absolution for that.
Yeah, exactly. Next paragraph?
Yeah, sure. Hoping to reconnect with his son, Walt offers to give Walt Jr. a driving lesson while Skylar is out again. Walt Jr. shows his skill at driving, but Walt notices that he's using both feet to work the pedals. When Walt tries to get him to use only the right foot, Walt Jr. gets upset and accidentally hits a safety cone. Jesse searches for a place to stay, but all of his friends turn him away. While Jesse is making a call at the gas station, his motorcycle and all his remaining possessions are stolen. Dejected, Jesse breaks into the lot where his RV is being kept, but accidentally falls through a porta potty, drenching himself in waste. He sleeps in his RV, only able to breathe through a gas mask. The next morning, Clovis, lot owner, finds him and demands the money he is owed, plus extra for repairs to the RV and the porta potty. Having no cash, Jesse begs for time to pay him back, but Clovis kicks him out and plans to sell his meth cooking equipment. Jesse breaks back into the lot, steals his RV, and escapes by driving through the locked gate.
This part when he's, like, staying at his kind of affluent friend's house who has a baby.
Oh
and
my
his wife
God.
comes home. That outfit is, like, so real, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's like everything about it just it felt. I don't know if I've been in that exact situation, but it felt pretty fucking relatable. Like,
yeah,
oh
right,
shit,
yeah.
the misso's home. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, like, you know, you got that. Everyone's got that mate who's got that girlfriend, and when she comes home, you know, if you're playing, like, I don't know, like playing online games with him, you know, and his girlfriend comes home, and that's it, you know, it's over, time to go. Like,
yeah, very
Yeah.
relatable.
Yep.
Oh man. So getting covered in fucking whatever that blue liquid is in the porta potties.
Yeah.
That, like, fuck, that's
nasty.
rough.
Yeah. And when he sobs when he gets in that RV, you feel him, eh? Like the last couple of days, like, and the thing is, right? Like, he brings it upon himself, because what did happen to that $600 that Walt gave him at the start of the episode? And he did smoke it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Presumably. So honestly, like, that's again, that's his fucking choice. He brings it upon himself. Like, you kind of feel sorry for him, but at the same time, when you think about it, a lot of decisions he does make is kind of his own problem. But then at the same time, you feel like, and the show does a really good job of this, but, like, he's kind of like a victim of, like, no one listens to him, right? Like, we'll see later on in this episode when Walt argues with him, he still doesn't listen, and Walt's not listening, or when he's on the phone to him, and, you know, even Tuco wasn't listening to him. It's like Jesse's that person that just always gets picked on. And I don't know if that was always the case when he was younger or something like that, but I guess when you go through that kind of shit all the time, you know, it must be very hard to bring yourself out of a rut like that, or you're just a drug addict, because no one's fucking listening to you anyway. No one has any faith in you, and you can see how it's such a vicious cycle.
Yeah, poor Jesse, man.
Yeah, it's rough.
Also, like, that was, you know, it's pretty fortunate that, well, not fortunate, but Clovis was going to sell the methylamine, probably make like $1 million out of it or something.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Which is like, why don't they just sell the methylamine?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's probably worth like $30,000 or something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, which is a lot of money, but not when you cook meth out of it. What do you think of him stealing the RV? It's kind of a bold move.
Yeah, it turns out it was the right move to make, you know, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to cook meth, and Jesse wouldn't have been able to. He'd just be stuck in that rut with no money.
Yeah, but it's still the wrong decision though in terms of a moral perspective, because he's the one that can't pay Clovis back.
Yeah, but like when you're manufacturing methamphetamine, it's like at this point, you know, like,
yeah, true.
You have to look at the context you're in to base what's moral and what's not.
Yeah, and the smart thing is that there's nothing Clovis can do because it's completely illegal what he's doing anyway. So, kind of theft you can get away with.
Wait, it's what Jesse does is legal?
No. But like Clovis can't just be like, oh, someone calls the cops and says, oh, someone stole my RV, because he's holding it knowing that there's fucking meth gear in it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Next paragraph.
Yeah.
While Walt Jr. is at school, Walt tries to have a conversation with Skylar. He apologizes for how he has been acting lately, but Skylar is still convinced he is hiding something and storms out when he won't tell her what it is. Walt follows her out and sees the RV parked near his house. He confronts Jesse over making contact, and Jesse tells him he only wants his half of the money they've made and will disappear. Walt angrily states that he has done all the work while Jesse has done nothing, ranting that Jesse is a pathetic junkie who is too stupid to follow simple instructions. This causes Jesse to lose his temper and attack him, but he stops himself from beating Walt. Walt brings Jesse inside and gives him half of his earnings and then offers him breakfast. Meanwhile, back at the gas station, Skylar gets into a car and takes out a cigarette and lighter. She hesitates, thinking about her pregnancy, but starts smoking. And
does Walt's and Skylar's like thing happen this episode where she's like, stop telling me, just say something that isn't bullshit for 1 second?
Yeah.
Is that this episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's during that argument in their living room.
Yeah.
Which is an intense argument.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense, man. She describes Walter's breakfast as obvious, and it is fucking obvious.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, Skylar's no dummy, and it's very obvious that Walt is, trying to hide something.
Yeah. And what would you do if you're her? That must feel like shit when your own husband is just hiding something from you and you have no idea what it is. Like for most people, the worst you'd suspect is an affair, and I guess that's what he kind of uses against her to kind of just maybe get away with it or something like that, but she sees through that anyway.
I find it really funny how Walt gets mad at her for leaving and not telling him where she's going. But it's the exact thing that Walt's been doing.
Exactly.
And, I don't know, just such fucking hypocrite.
Where do you reckon she has been going though?
She's probably just been driving around the block or some shit,
Yeah, but she was gone all day, so she's obviously doing something.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe she's gone bowling or something.
What? Why was that the first thing that came to you on bowling?
I don't know, man. It's what people do when you don't have something to do on a Friday night. You go bowling. You know how it is. So I can't. In my notes here, I wrote down Walt's dream, and I can't remember what it is though. Do you remember what he describes his dream as?
Yeah. He owned an Italian restaurant or some shit.
That's right.
Something like that. And he's like, oh, it was really weird. Why the fuck did he start that off with that? That's actually a good point.
Yeah, in the moment, I swear I had some connection in my head.
Well, there must be a connection. There's a fucking connection with everything in this. Like, how good is it that the reason why Jesse gets kicked out of his house is because Walt Chuko fucking kidnaps him? Because they went to his house because Hank visited his mother, and that's why she went there. Like, how clever is that? Like, everything
that is clever.
In the plot is just streamlined. It's beautiful. Like, I love it. It's just all these connections. Because you could have just been, as a writer, like, oh, she just decided to check the basement because she just wanted to and found a meth lab. But no, let's make this connection to make it more justified. It's just great.
See, I didn't even consider that. Like, that's the beauty of rewatching this show, man. Everything clicks into place.
Yeah, and I always make this point, like, how everything just clicks into place, like everything's there for a reason. So there must be a reason for that fucking dream.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, so and then Skylar, this seems like the breaking point of Walt's lie, and in a lesser show he would have just confessed. This would have been the point where he confesses that he's a drug dealer to his wife, but no, Walt still fucking commits to his lie, and he confesses in a sense, because you can just, from his performance, you can tell that he's confessed to not confessing about something.
Exactly. He's like accepted the fact that he can't tell her, but telling her that he's doing something behind the lines. Like, that is actually a really interesting point.
And just the audacity of this man. Although I do like how it's handled later on when he eventually does tell her, and it's a very understated moment. He's just like, yeah, I cook methamphetamine. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get to that. And so, man, this episode is like particularly fucking really good because Walt and Jesse's arc throughout this episode, they coalesce together and they sort of climax together. So think about how, his wife is leaving all day, sort of, detaching herself from him. Similarly, when he's driving with Walter Jr., he's been taking lessons with his friend, driving lessons, and he doesn't seem to need his father to teach him. So this episode is about people not needing Walt, whereas Jesse's arc is all about how he needs people to need him.
Yeah.
Like he needs some sort of paternal figure to look after him. And so when they meet at the end, they both fulfill, what they're longing.
Yeah, even though they fight over it at the start.
Yeah.
But Walt does give him the money in the end. Like,
yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think it's justified?
I think it's a nice human moment. It's one of those things that makes their friendship all the more compelling. Is these moments when Walt didn't have to do that, but he did.
But do you reckon that he should have anyway? Like,
no.
I don't like what Jesse kind of has a point there. Like, the money they lost was because of Chuko, and that's neither of their faults.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't know. And Walt is a dick about it. He keeps saying it's Jesse's fault when it's kind of both their fault. Yeah, so yeah, I
but
suppose
then if you
justified.
partner with someone that could just spend all the money on drugs anyway, you'd be very reluctant to give that money away. And he doesn't even give him half anyway. He kind of that last bit of cash, he mulls over it and then he keeps it anyway. So
that's right.
Why not just split that wad?
I mean, everything's intentional. It's just shown, it's scale of gray. Walt, he does give Jesse the money, which is a nice thing to do, but he keeps that extra bit, and it's like, it's not all fucking heartfelt moments. Like, there is a twinge of darkness to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, man. This episode kind of made me realize just how big of a theme paternity is in this series.
Yeah.
Like, later on with Gus Fring, he talking to Walter about, like, a man provides for his family.
Yeah, it's a very big thing in this.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah.
Oh, and Walter White momentarily becomes Palpatine.
Excuse me?
When Jesse's choking him out and he's like, do it.
Star Wars reference.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's all I got.
All right, cool. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
Bye.
Have to do. I'm trying to talk to you, and you just
Okay, so talk, Walt. Shut up and say something that isn't complete bullshit. You want to know what you have to do? You have to tell me what's really going on right now. Today. No more excuses. No more apologies. No more of these obvious, desperate breakfasts.
If you like this series, Mitch is going to tell you where you can find more of these.
Yep, so you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. And we've also got a website, amttm.com, where you can find our fabulous episodes on Breaking Bad.
If you have any questions, queries, insights, or criticism, you can send them to mail@amttm.com.
And as always, thank you for listening.